have, pretty much 4 teenagers at the moment, but, it becomes a little bit trickier when they're little. You can just say, hey, come with me and let's do this. And they say, okay. And when they're older, their conversation changes a little bit. It's, with my oldest son, it's, he doesn't necessarily want to go to the gym anymore. And so the conversation has changed to, hey, like, I know you have other things you want to do, but you need to make sure that you keep your body healthy, and you need to make sure that you take a break from the screen and you take a break from your studies and just do something else. So the conversation changes and the way you go about motivating them changes, but you can't give up on it. You still have to keep trying to get them to implement it into their routine.
Hello and welcome. Today I'm here with Bex and Bonnie. And because we didn't cover that enough last time with Bex, we'll talk about coaching kids, how to approach coaching kids, how to raise your kids so they like fitness. And on a Bex recommendation, I got a contact on Bonnie, who is probably the best expert to have on this topic, right? So Bonnie, can you just tell us your experience with kids?
Yeah, sure.
Let's start with your experience with fitness overall. It's briefly, how you got into it and so on.
Sure. I bet for pretty much my whole life, I've been active. It's always been a part of my life, whether it's playing sports or playing outside. As when I was younger, I was always very active. I have 4 kids and kind of took a break when they were little. And then when I moved to Dubai, I started doing CrossFit after my children. They had actually started first back in the US. And I fell in love with it. And I saw for myself and my children, just what a positive impact it had. CrossFit, but also fitness in general, with attitude and confidence and just physical being.
You only started with CrossFit after all 4 kids?
Yeah.
What is the gap between your kids? What is the age difference there?
The oldest is almost 20 and the youngest is 12. So there's 7 years.
Between 4 kids?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's a fast speed.
Yeah. So, and then it was probably, so that's when I started. Bex was actually one of my first coaches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool.
And then probably about a year after that, I got into that. I had the idea that I wanted to coach kids mainly. So I did my level 1 in order to get my CrossFit Kids certification, and then the rest just kind of took off.
And then my kids went to Bonnie's class.
The circle was closed.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And so what was so attractive for you with coaching kids?
Mainly, like I said, just the impact it had on my kids. I saw what it was and how great it was and how it carried over into just their day-to-day life and even school. And I just thought, wow, that would be really cool to help other kids experience the same thing. I hadn't worked in 12 years. So, I was a little bit hesitant to start working again, but then the idea of having my children with me, and benefiting from it while I was working was very appealing. So it worked well for me and my family, if I could kind of both the mom and coach role. So
I think even for you as well, personally, how I saw Bonnie is when you first joined the gym and I was coaching you, you always come across as a very quiet and shy kind of person. But I think when you took on the kids class, you came into your own. You saw a different Bonnie for sure. I think it brought out the confidence in you as well as the kids.
Yeah, it did, for sure. I mean, I've always been a very quiet, shy person. And when I told my husband, he was like, wait, what? He's like, if that's what you want. But yeah, it is. And even now, when I'm not coaching, I'm still pretty quiet and shy. But that's my one place that I'm comfortable getting up in front of people and speaking.
And who was doing CrossFit first? First you sign up your kids to a program?
So it was actually my oldest son. He had seen in a town fair, a CrossFit gym had a stand, and he got on a rower and did a pull-up challenge and was like, this is what I want to do. And he had reached an age where he wasn't really that interested in team sports or anything anymore. So we were like, okay, we'll give it a try. And it was within a couple of weeks that we saw what an impact it was having on him. And then of course my other son wanted to start, and then my daughter wanted to start, and then so it just kind of snowballed. So when we came here, and I started going to the gym. This was back in the US.
Oh, okay. How old was he when he?
He was about 11.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So 11-year-old boy got hooked. Yeah. And then he dragged the whole family with him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And it was something I had always I had heard about it before, but my husband was here for 2 years, and before we moved, and I didn't have, anyone to help watch the kids. So I couldn't make it to classes. So that was one of the things I was like, okay, I'm here. My kids are all in school. I'm finally going to get to do it. So it had been on my radar or something I wanted to do. But it wasn't until we got here that I was able to.
All right. So your kids already started in US.
Yeah.
And then once you moved and you kind of settled and everything was taken care of, then you had time to start yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can you go a little bit, if you remember, can you get a little bit more into detail? What was the changes you saw on your son? You said it took only a couple of weeks and it changed him.
Yeah, it did. Like I was saying, he wasn't interested in the group sports anymore. And so he just didn't really want to do anything. And he wasn't very social. So, you've seen, it was even for myself, when you are in a group of people doing the same thing as you, and they're not relying on you, but you can still push yourself, and you can still continue to see improvement every time you come and learn something new and accomplish something new. It's the same thing adults love about CrossFit or, whatever fitness they choose to do. That was what I was seeing. Every time we left, he felt wow, I was able to do this today. Wow, I learned how to do this. And then, it carried over into tackling his homework and, maybe asking someone to play with him on the playground. It was just little things like that. And they make a big difference for kids, that little bit of confidence. And I see it all the time. In the work that I do and with my own children, if you can create instances where they grow and learn and feel like they've accomplished something or they've overcome something, it just continues to build that confidence, which is so necessary for them.
So you would say that, well, we see it on adults as well, right? Yeah. The only thing is that on kids, as everything is just accelerated, right?
Exactly.
It's there's oh shit, it's 10 times stronger response than adults have. So would you say it was mainly the fact that he was thrown at a challenge that he wasn't sure he can do, and then he eventually overcame it, and that also transferred to...
It was part of it. Yeah, mm-hmm. I mean, definitely, it was a challenge for him, and it also, it's same with CrossFit. It's different every time, so he didn't get bored. He liked, coming to class and seeing what was going to happen today, and it was always different, and he just enjoyed the variety.
Was it a kids program he enrolled first?
It was a kids program, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, mm-hmm. So that was specifically done for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you think would be, or you both guys, because you have it at home.
Yeah.
What do you think would be an appropriate age for a kid to actually, if they are starting, but there is no really a kids program locally available, it's just not an option.
Right.
But what age do you think that they could actually start coming along with their parents to a normal adult class?
That's a tricky one, because I think every kid is different, right?
Yeah.
I think the main thing is it kind of depends on the attention span of that child, because that's a big part. It's very difficult to coordinate a group of people if some are focused and some aren't focused. So that's always a tricky thing. It does depend on that. On saying that though, kids are squatting from the moment they're able to move. So it's not, I think what we probably both have found, especially with the littler kids, is they learn best if you're playing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So as long as, if you wanted to, they wouldn't be able to join an adult class per se, but if you wanted to create a class that was kind of suitable for families, as long as the adults understand that, look, you may not get the best workout out of this. You might want to hang out later and do another class on top. But if they're happy to understand that, okay, this class is going to be about mainly playing and games, but also part of the game, like, quite often we'll do things like, I don't know, relay races, but they'll run and they have to do, I don't know, 3 squats before they run back, or they run and they do like X amount of push-ups before they run back. They're learning, but it's very play-based.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to join adults and kids if there's not an understanding of that, because obviously we focus differently.
Right.
You reminded me one thing. My brother has a 3.5-year-old daughter, and she's spending some time in the gym. It's not like all day, but because, she has other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Busy kid, right?
Yeah.
But she's spending quite some time in the gym, and they don't ever have to tell her to do anything.
No, because
she
their
just
interest is
she just
sparked already.
follows, right?
That's
I
great.
was there, and I was doing front rack yoke carries, and suddenly, out of nowhere, she found parallels. She was doing the same. She
That
just
is
picked
cute.
there was the higher parallels that was just that height that she just, that little dip. She just picked it and she was following me up and down, We're doing, I've seen videos of her, like guys are doing slam ball over yoke or to the box. She grabbed a med ball, put it on the box, climbed the box, kicked the ball down. That was the most fun, right? Because she gets to kick it and throw it down. And she would just go forever.
But this is awesome. And this is like, it's great if people I know there are people who are bringing newborn babies with the cans on, like along to the gym. Like
Ellen and Chris, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like the younger you can bring them in, they just absorb that and it becomes normal for them. And I think that's awesome. And I also think this might be a little bit controversial, but I think if you're a parent...
The more controversial, the better.
Okay. If you are a parent and you're not active in some way, and you're not exposing your kids to activity in some way, it doesn't have to be a CrossFit gym or any kind of formal setup, but if you're not exposing them to being active in some way, you're kind of failing them, really. Like, it's so important.
I think there's nothing controversial about this. This is
Okay,
like 100% true.
Okay.
Yeah. But like, it's not an accident that climbers... kids will get climbing.
Yeah, right. Because
they
kids
just
want to
see
emulate.
it.
They always, like, if they see, like, as a parent, especially when your kids are smaller, when they're teenagers, not so much, but when they're smaller, you are your kid's hero.
Right.
So if they see you doing
You
something...
still are as a teenager, too.
Oh, yeah? Tell Maya. No, I'm joking. But no, like, if they see you doing something, they want a copy, and that's like a perfect example.
Yeah, he made a post about it a little bit just to, motivate people. Like, kids are not going to do what you tell them to do. They will do what they see you doing, right? And there is this amazing picture I found a couple of years online, and I always remember that. It's like 2 moms sitting in a some subway, not the franchise, like actual metros, okay? On the bench, let's say on the bench, they're sitting 2 moms with 2 kids, and one mom has a phone, and the kid has a tablet, right? And the other mom has a book, and the other kid has a book as well. Mm-hmm. And the mom with the phone is talking to the mom with the book. How you get your kid to read books? It's like, well, no shit.
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah.
So you're saying, I'm curious about this. You said that teenagers also see you as a hero.
Yes, I think they do. I mean, when they're teens, they're figuring stuff out. They're trying to become more independent, but they still need you and they still rely on you. And you're still their role model and their example. Even though they may be trying to break off and become their own selves, you're still modeling what type of person, they admire for the most part. And then, the behaviors that are, what actions that you perform are ones that they're going to be paying the most attention to. So it's still important, even at that age, that you continue to model good behavior for them. So
you would say it's still the same. They just have harder time admitting it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Really, yeah. Yes. And it's one of those things too. I mean, I have, pretty much 4 teenagers at the moment, but, it becomes a little bit trickier when they're little. You can just say, hey, come with me and let's do this. And they say, okay. And when they're older, their conversation changes a little bit. It's, with my oldest son, it's, he doesn't necessarily want to go to the gym anymore. And so the conversation has changed to, hey, like, I know you have other things you want to do, but you need to make sure that you keep your body healthy, and you need to make sure that you take a break from the screen and you take a break from your studies and just do something else. So the conversation changes and the way you go about motivating them changes, but you can't give up on it. You still have to keep trying to get them to implement it into their routine.
So over years, it would be kind of silly to assume that your kid just started CrossFit and it's just a line of action since, right? It's a little bit up and down,
definitely. Yeah. I mean, even I have my daughter who is 17, like in the last 2 years, she's been all in, like, loves it, been doing really well, did the open, has done great. And then it's her final year of school and she's inundated with work. So it's had to take a back seat for now. But with her, I mean, she has the bug. She likes to work out. And so when she has time, she does it. I'm confident that it's something that she'll carry on into adulthood. Like it's established.
She's like incredible at it as well. Like she's like such a talented.
Okay, Bex, you told me because she's not that open, right? When she said she did okay with the open, how well she did.
No. To be honest, so we haven't seen each other for a long while. So I'm still kind of like, I was trying not to like gawp my mouth open when she was talking about it being 17, because the last time I saw her, she was littler.
I was just thinking about how you have the youngest kid, a 17-year-old.
No, the youngest is 12.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, 12.
Yeah.
Okay, youngest
I
is
could
12.
give you an
Yeah,
example.
so Maya and Molly were the same age, and then all of Bond's kids are bigger, and then I've got Isaac, who is smaller. But no, like she's super talented. Megan's very talented.
She'll kill me for telling this story, but like she was doing the open, the one with the bar muscle ups at the end, and like the chest this past.
Yeah, I know. The progressive with pull-ups, chest to bars, muscle ups.
And she was like, I'm getting to those bar muscle ups. I'm going to get to them. And she pushed herself so hard. It was like the heavy thrusters too. And she was just about to get to the thrusters. She's like, I'm going to be sick. And I was like, oh no. So she like ran into the hall, got sick, came back, started doing bar muscle ups. And I was like, all right then, let's go.
Trooper.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, it's one of those moments where you're like, as a coach, you're like, yes. But as a mom, you're like, oh, slow down. Are you okay?
Yeah.
The internal battle between coach and a responsible parent.
You get a lot of those moments though. Like when you're a mum coach, you do get a lot of those moments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always remember like the first thing Maya, especially Maya, but also Isaac eventually, the first thing she always did, she just came and started to climb a rope.
Climb the
Like
rope
that's
always, yeah.
always like, and
like-
she was 6'7" that time. And she was like all the way up.
Yeah.
You were like 20 meters from her, just like, Maya, careful.
Yeah.
That's all she needed.
The members would be like, Bex. I'm like, she's good. She's fine. She
She can do it better than you.
But that's one of those things like Bex was talking about. Like play is one of the most important things for kids, and they have to be able to play and explore in order to learn how to move.
Yeah.
It's so important
and
for
also
them.
to teach themselves their own boundaries, like, or to
Yeah.
learn. I mean, as an adult, you become, and I've noticed this recently. I don't know, like I'm turning 40 soon, so I don't know whether it's that that's suddenly like clicking in. They're like, oh my gosh, suddenly. But like I'm way more fearful of things than I ever used to be. And I think it's because like, obviously you learn, okay, now I should be afraid of that because something bad happened when I did that. With kids, nothing bad has happened yet.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid of anything. So now is the time to let them go try. Like go try it, because they're not afraid.
And if you keep them from trying, then they're just going to grow up more fearful.
Exactly, yeah. Like if Maya's saying, I want to climb the rope, okay, cool. Try the rope. I want to reach the ceiling. Okay, cool. Inside I'm like, okay, cool. But no, okay, cool. Like try.
I'm spotting you.
Go for it, yeah. I'll get you. I'm like, everybody form a circle. But no, it like I think it's great. Like while they're fearless, let them go do it.
Yeah.
That's very cool. I was listening to one podcast, and there's some guy who is like a guru, but not in a too much of a spiritual way, but modern way, a guru for guys. And he's like, talking about how guys are getting softer and how we need to change it from how boys are raised. And basically the main pain point he was mentioning was that we don't let kids to try, explore, and get hurt.
Right.
But preventing them from getting hurt a little, you're making them way more prone to get hurt a lot eventually.
Definitely.
Yeah?
My answer when my kids fall is, it's okay, there's no blood.
Yeah.
There's no blood.
Can you walk? You're good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Can you see me?
Walk it off.
Can you bend your arm?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, like you see it with kids these days, like there's definitely a difference from like when we were younger and how they are today with the things that they're capable of doing. Like so many kids come in and cannot jump rope or skip rope, or like they can't jump and land on 2 feet simultaneously, or they run by shuffling, or they walk by shuffling. And it's, they have these gaps in their movement patterns. Then with kids, because they're so fearless and because they just go, they'll just make something up. Like if they can't jump onto something with 2 feet, they'll, jump down and then step up. Or, I see it with little kids, like they, if we do progressive box jumps getting higher and higher, when they're confident and they can do it, they'll do it. But then when it gets a little bit high and they're nervous, they just jump onto their knees. They're missing that. No, I need to bring my knees up. That skill in solving that problem, they don't have it. And so it's something that they need to learn. There's some like gaps in the way they move, where if they were playing and they were jumping and, doing all these things outside, they would have figured it out naturally. Yeah.
I think there's probably a couple of things that's factor into that. I think a huge part of it is when we were kids growing up, as long as it wasn't like snowing out, well, even if it was snowing outside, but as long as it wasn't like, a thunderstorm, it was like, go play out. Like the whole time you were playing. And I mean, we used to get into a lot of trouble when we were kids, climbing into places we shouldn't be, or, crawling under things we shouldn't be under, and scraping and getting stuck and panicking and whatever. But you kind of learn these kind of skills. And unfortunately nowadays, everything is so based on like electronics and games or whatever. That's a huge part to play. But I think out here, the other thing is the weather is so awful that there's no, like there isn't anywhere, unless you're willing to pay every single time. There isn't anywhere for
you go to some play center, obstacle course, something.
Yeah, it's difficult to just, it's difficult for them to just have somewhere to just play.
But that's what you see here. But when you look at even Europe and normal weather, it's not much better with kids there. Like the weather's better, kids still the same.
But the gaming and stuff is still more. Yeah, it's still more.
Yeah, so that's a very very interesting point. Like to what degree to be protective, and to what, like, where is the boundary? I believe that everybody has to set it for themselves. Right. However, you probably are going to be, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I see it in a way that because you are fit, you know what it takes. Yeah. You'll be probably way more precisely be able to assess what is too far and what is not than some parents who will just send the kids, but they don't do that themselves. Yeah. Right. Like they don't do any activity, so they don't know what it takes.
Right. Or they won't send the kid because they're so fearful, because they know they couldn't do it. So therefore they just assume their kids can't, which is sad, right?
Yeah. I was coaching a guy who was 14, 15, who couldn't hang for a second. Like, no, nothing. No grip strength, nothing. Like, no awareness. It was like, I was like, hey, like, just close the hand. Like, what's so hard? But then you realize that it's not that he can't because he doesn't want to. It's just not there because it was never developed. And then you see your Maya just like monkeying around, and
freaking like everybody out.
Insane coordination. Yeah. She'll try like swing from one rope to the another, then to the bar, and like it's crazy. It's crazy how different it is. And it's not like you forced her, right? Like how you guys got like.
No, like I'm sure it's the same for Bon, but like we're busy. Like this is our place of work, and we're busy working. So our kids are just trying to find something to fill the time.
You mean when you bring them to the gym,
They're just trying to find something to fill the time. And like, luckily for them, it's like a giant obstacle course, which fills their time. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, they're happy and they're busy and they're safe. So yeah, let them go, let them play it. Much rather than do that than sit watching a screen. So,
do you have some limits when you're talking about screens? Like, do you have some kind of rules, limits, boundaries? I know you have a bit older kids, but
we do. I mean, like on the weekends, they don't have like free reign, but like they have more time. But then during the week, my middle son, he can't be on his PS5 during the week. I mean, it's a big fat no. Like, I mean, that's no. But they're pretty good for the most part. I mean, like when at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, all phones are in the kitchen. They're done. And then in the morning, occasionally they'll get on, but usually it's like until you're ready for school, you cannot even touch your phone. I mean, our kids don't get phones till they're 13. So my 12-year-old is anxiously waiting for her 13th birthday.
That was my other question. Where is the time? And why 13? Why? Because I believe
that was when the oldest got, well, it was actually my daughter, my second oldest got one because my oldest son had no interest in one. And, just because she waited till she was 13, that's when everyone else had to wait. But I think it's a whole nother subject, but there's a lot of stuff that they can access on their phone that you probably don't want them to see. So, it's a matter of maturity too. Like, I know you could put parental controls and stuff, but kids are smart and they figure that stuff out. And, it's, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all that stuff. Like, even with my kids, like if they all have Instagram, but I have all of their accounts on my phone. And I don't go into their messages or anything, but like with my younger daughter, and I did this with the other kids, like we'll scroll through their feeds and just be like, okay, this, no, this
remove this.
Stuff like that. I mean, you have to use it, teach them how to use it responsibly. And of course they'll do other things, but like they'll know.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, unfortunately, everything that they do now involves tech in some way. Like even at school, from like year 2, I think onwards, they have to have an iPad. Yeah. Like when we were kids, you'd have like one IT lesson per week where you
were taking turns on one computer.
Right. Like exactly. There's like a pair to a computer, and you were learning how to, type in Word or make it.
See, you're so young. I learned on a typewriter. That was like my class was like type on a typewriter. That was me.
Dinosaur over there. But yeah, now they need it for everything. Like they have to have an iPad from the time they're in year 2, which I think is what, age 6, is it? Can't think of the ages. So they have to have an iPad. And then obviously you have this kind of like tricky business, especially as they're getting older now, where they'll be like, oh, I'm doing homework, and then their WhatsApp is pinging. So you're like, oh, are you? So then, it's like I didn't have a phone until I was about 17, I don't think.
I was married.
Well, this is crazy, right? You were married before you got a phone.
But now, even the phones, like, I mean, Maya has to have a phone because her and Isaac are on different campuses now. So in order to kind of coordinate who's being picked up from where, like, I need her to have a phone so I can say, okay, I'm stuck in traffic, I've got Isaac, wait here, like that. And it's like, it's crazy. I wouldn't have known how to use a phone. I would have, like, when we were kids, you'd have to go into the teacher and be like, my mom didn't pick me up.
Can you call them?
And they'd be calling you on your house phone. And you're
like, not there.
It's like, well, she's not at home
there,
either.
So she must be coming. You're all right. Just sit tight. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's. I wasn't really thinking about it, though. What you said about like what else they can access. Yeah. Right, like the openness of the internet is way too open, right? And so you said like social media, they are allowed to have accounts.
They all have Instagram, which is, we try to keep it to one. But like I know for my older daughter, all the kids use Snapchat, and so she has it. But my younger daughter's not on it.
Honestly, I don't know what is Snapchat.
I think I think it's like a quicker.
So it's like DMing, but like they send like pictures and then they vanish.
Okay.
Okay.
So
It's literally just a little snap of what they're doing. It doesn't stay. Like on Instagram,
Nothing
we have our
stays.
story.
It's in the name.
It stays. It includes in the name. Yeah.
yeah, really, I never used Snapchat.
Sit three adults around a table and ask them what Snapchat
Yeah, like what the
is.
fuck? Oh wow. Okay. Well, I've seen this clip from what's his name? The ginger Canadian singer.
Canadian? Are you sure?
Ed Sheeran?
He's British, but okay.
Oh, really?
Ed Sheeran, yeah, he's British.
Really? I thought he's Canadian for whatever reason. Okay, sorry. So Ed Sheeran, he had some interview. Maybe it was in Canadian TV. That's why I remember.
Oh, maybe.
No, probably not. And he had some interview, and he was saying about, and that's how that kind of changed the whole perspective for me as well. Like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are amazing marketing tools.
Yes.
Yeah.
Use them for presentation of what you have to offer. Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the same time, if somebody is posting whatever kind of pictures or videos of their life, or just for likes and dopamine shots from all the hearts and comments and all that, they will post half naked pictures. Like he said, like, I feel sorry for them because that means they have nothing to offer, right? Like that's marketing for themselves to remind the world that they are still there.
Yeah.
So it's way deeper than just like have Instagram, not to have Instagram. It's like why people have an urge or need to do that. Like when you post your workouts, when you do workout with Simon, or you do workout with your clients or kids, and you post it, it's a promo tool for you. Yeah. That you are a coach, you doing this. It's also maybe some kind of like an archive for you that, okay, this day this was happening, because you can also access it later. But if somebody is doing it literally just to like drag attention, and that's very, it's a psychological problem actually, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And also you have to think about as well, and like this is the times that we live in now. If you're applying for a job somewhere
or university,
HR are going to get straight on you. Oh, what's this person's name? Let's find their Instagram handle.
Definitely.
If your Instagram is full of
drunk pictures and
it's like, okay, swipe past,
swipe right, swipe left.
I don't know which way to swipe. I don't know which way.
No match.
No match.
But that's with kids. Like that's something that you just have to talk to them about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My kids don't post on it. I mean, they use it more for chatting with friends, or they look at other people's things.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I only do stuff for work on there, really.
Maya's at a stage where she's asking if she can have a TikTok account, but so far I'm managing to hold strong with the no. Yeah. But it's difficult because they're friends.
Right.
They're all and then they're learning the dances. They want to be able to join in. And then as a parent, you don't want to be why they're left out.
Right.
But also it's like, okay, yeah, you learn a dance, but what else are you going to see? So it's just
true.
So it's kind of you're somewhat, not directly, but socially pressured into it anyway.
Yeah, right.
And even like I do have kids who are like 10, 11 who come in and they're like, oh my gosh, I have 100 followers on TikTok. And it's like, wow, like I don't even know what to say to that. Like, yay, like I don't, like, who are they? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It's like you want to say good job, but it's not really good, right?
Yeah. It's I think each family has to make up their own decisions and then, have conversations with their kids on what the expectations are.
Is it because you have that age kids, right? Or you recently had, like, was it a lot of tension on a daily basis?
No.
Like Instagram? No? You managed that straight from the beginning, yeah?
But I wonder whether, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to like bring it back around to like the kind of fitness conversation. Because I do think what you're saying about people posting the pictures of
curves,
all this kind of thing. It shows like you're saying, a really deep insecurity, right? That they need likes. They need likes to feel like they have some kind of purpose.
Because the fulfillment is lacking from somewhere else.
Yeah, but I feel like kids that get into a sport, any kind of sport, whether it's a team sport or gym, whatever it is, they have a confidence in them that for the most part means that they don't need that. Like they don't need somebody else to tell them that they are doing well or they look good or they don't need the gratification. They're like, I'm good as I am. Like I think
if you have coach or parent plus couple of peers from the CrossFit group with Bonnie, let's say, and you like, it doesn't need to be, the participation trophy, but just appreciated effort that you did great job today. Mm-hmm. There was a great lift. There was a great workout, great effort. You're doing very well. Then you're probably not going to look for that somewhere else, artificially
also,
through.
Right. And also, like especially within our sport, we are always teaching, and it's not about how your body looks; it's what it can do. Right. So that kind of nonsense is like it doesn't matter. It's like okay, great, you're really pretty, cool. I can do 10 strict pull-ups. Yeah. Can you? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, and I think that's really cool.
Right back at you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's like, I would much rather be able to jump over this really high box than wear a bikini. Everyone can wear a bikini. Like, I think that's quite important and cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a very good point that you're actually teaching them on the class, on the CrossFit, that the value is somewhere else, not in how you look or present yourself in a good lighting in front of the mirror, right? Like it's so the fitness itself, even it's a picture of a fitness guy or girl in bikini or shorts, shirtless, whatever, right? But you see nothing about them from the picture.
Right.
So, it also comes to the point that we were supposed to, and we were wired evolutionary to know 150 people in a lifetime.
Right.
Yeah, because it was small tribes, people getting born, people dying, whatever, small groups. And now you go to a mall and you meet 2,000.
Yeah.
Just in one day, in 2 hours, or just your school is 600 people or 800 or whatever the size of that is. Right. And plus you extend it to all the online space. Yeah. That's insane. That's insane because you only literally can know the superficial things. Right. Because that deep connection, there's no way you will have it with everybody. Mm-hmm. It's just not possible, especially through the screen and just how things that you type are misunderstood, right?
Yeah.
No, it's true. But I think even going back to that confidence is, as we were talking about earlier with the group fitness classes, you have people of all different fitness levels, of all different shapes and sizes and everything. And when you're all working together and accomplishing the same things and working towards the same things, it kind of makes you realize that you're just like everybody else. Yeah. And it's really important, I think, even from a young age, and even a lot of adults need to remember that you're your own person and you need to do what you can do and work towards what you want to do. It doesn't really matter what anyone else is doing. You need to do it for you. And with the group classes, one of the nice things is, you all help each other, whether it's packing up equipment, whether it's cheering each other on. I see kids all the time saying, hey, if I'm busy with someone else, hey, just bring your feet a little bit wider. Like the kids who've been, coming for a long time, they help each other out. And it doesn't matter if it's someone they talk to in class or not. It's a good environment for them to learn a lot of life lessons. So I think
you reminded me funny situations I was getting into when I was coaching a family on the group class. It was mom, dad, and their son, right? I was like, it was hard sometimes to remind them who the coach is, right?
Yes.
Because you have so much what you doing? It's shut up, And then they were coaching each other, but not in a very productive way, And of course they feel ashamed or intimidated when they are corrected by their kid in front of the coach. And it was just that's when I was asking about bringing kids and kids and parents together.
Yeah.
If you have experience with that, because
we have done in the past, like basically like bring your parents to class day, and it's nice because I would say probably at least half of the kids have parents who do CrossFit as well or some sort of fitness, and then others do not, or their parents aren't as active. But it's really cool experience for both sides, parents and kids, because the parents have just been dropping them off and they come out all sweaty. They don't really know what they're doing, but then the kids have a chance to show them. So we might do something as, like for the kids who like a hang power clean, which is, they can all do it. But to a parent who has never done it, it's going to be tricky. But when their child shows them how to do it, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool for the parents and the kids. But then I'm just trying to get them to do a group workout together. And like everybody leaves feeling great and happy. And, the parents are proud of their children. The children are proud of what they can do. It's a very nice thing for the kids to experience with the parents. And it just reinforces that importance of having, that active aspect of their life in place.
Have you experienced, like, how does it work when you have kids coming, but the parents are not into CrossFit? Like, how do kids even find out about it, or how they, through friends?
Usually a lot of people find out word of mouth. A lot of the kids that come in, or, there have been often times where I'll just meet someone in the grocery store, or, a teacher at the kids' school will say, hey, can one of my kids try your class? And I do have quite a few kids who their parents are not active or don't work out. And they're great. I mean, like some of them, it's motivation, like they want the change, they want to do something. Or to them, it's just exciting because it's new. It's all different, but yeah, it does happen sometimes. But there are those instances where, like, when we do have the parents come in, the day where the parents come in, kids who don't have parents come, and so for that, like I, usually, I'll partner with them, or my kids will partner with them, just to try to make sure they're involved.
It's nice to have that as well. Like when you are the coach and your kids are in your class, it's really nice because obviously they're your kids. Most of the time, they're a little more experienced. They're kind of like the
they've
senior
been listening
kids.
to you coach for years.
Well, they've seen it 100 times.
Yeah. So it's always like a really nice kind of bridge to use your kids. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes if you perhaps can't, it could be that there are like some children that need like extra focus, and you can't be with them the entire time. So it's nice to have your kids there to kind of help them out, or I should say, and buddy up with them, and make them feel comfortable, but also like help them to learn. Right. Like it's nice having your kids in your class. So sometimes there's a bit of a delicate kind of balance having your kids in class, isn't it?
Like my kids will sometimes have, little kids. So their age is like 5 to 9 classes. And sometimes they get really busy. So I'll ask one of my kids to come and, sometimes, they'll demo movements for me. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just be like, hey, we're going to do pull-ups next. Do you mind just going and setting everything up for pull-ups? Like they can be like my little assistants because they know, how everything works in the gym. Or like I'll say, hey, this kid over here needs some help with squats, like while these kids are doing box jumps, I'm going to pull them over here, show them some things. Like, so it's nice because 1, we can give the attention to the kids that need it in class, and 2, the kids have like the chance to show their skill and to take on like a leadership role. Yeah.
You also you're teaching insanely valuable things to your kids through this, right? Because how hard it is to communicate precisely with people. Many people don't know that. We have to know that. Or at least we should strive to know that as best as we can. And you give them to, okay, take this kid and explain this to them. And like their human and communication skills, like it will grow like crazy, right? Yeah. Can you see that as well?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So they're
especially my youngest, like Molly is she's about the same age as Baya. And she, of course, when I started was 4, so she was too young to do class. So she has basically grown up in the gym. I mean, she really has. She spent a lot of time there, and she more so than she's much more outgoing and able to approach people and talk to people than my other kids. They're a little more reserved and shy, but she's no problem.
Would you want your kids to be coaches?
I mean, yeah, if
they
that's,
want to.
if they want, I was going to say, yeah, if that's what they decide they want to
Like
do.
you wouldn't be against it, yeah?
No, not at all. No, not at all.
Definitely not.
Cool. I wanted to ask, when we were talking about like motivating teenagers and that it's get a little bit rougher, maybe than when kids are younger, right? Would hormones and changes and a new interest in opposite or even the same sex would it be a good motivator? Like, hey, like you tell your son, like, well, if you want girls to want you, you better get buff, you know?
No.
I would do that.
No, but I mean, to me, to me, that would send the message that your value would be your appearance, and not who you are.
Then you can use the muscle ups. You know? But you know,
it just
guys,
it depends on the kid. You know what I mean, and what their interests are, and what like they're trying to achieve. But it is, the teenagers are. I mean, can be tough, but they still need guidance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they still need it, and the teens that I have are great. Like they love the little community that they have. You know, and it's great. You know, that they all come from different schools, and a lot of the kids have been coming for years, so they know each other and they're friends, and they're very welcoming to new kids. This year, one of the things I've started, just because most of the teens I have are boys, and oftentimes, like if I've had a girl come in and trial a class, they'd be the only girl, and I never see them again. So we just started this year a girls only teens class. And it's just starting to pick up, but they love it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's
because
awesome.
they can come in and they love the weights. But, when you're with the boys who've got the bigger weights because they've been coming for 2 years, it's a little intimidating. So, and then, they're not necessarily interested in right now getting super strong. They just want to learn. They just want to learn how to do everything. Why, have fun, talk to each other, it's different. And a lot of them will come and try the girls' class. And then just once they're a little bit more confident, then they spill over into the other classes, which is good. It's a good way to get them going. But there's so many benefits, for everyone, but for girls especially, if they can get into some type of straight training, it just has a really good positive impact on them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, massively. I agree.
Yeah.
No, just as you were saying that, I was just thinking of Maya because she actually, so last year was her last year of primary school. And she was becoming really frustrated that for PE, they were still separated in boys and girls. So the boys would go and learn football. The girls had to go and learn, netball. Or, the boys would be learning, rugby or cricket, and the girls had to do whatever else it was. And she was like, this is so unfair. Like, why can't I learn how to play rugby? Like, I really want to try rugby, but they're saying that only the boys can play rugby. So she went off like of her own accord and then came back down. She's like, Mum, do you think it would be okay if I made like a petition for like everybody to sign if they think that like we should be allowed to try the other sports? I was like, I don't see why not. Yeah. So she went away and she worked on it. She came down. She's like, does it look good like this? I was like, maybe not quite like this. Let's Google some ways to like format your petition. And she went away and she did it. And she was so like pleased with herself because she went around both the primary school and some of the senior school and got like 76 signatures or something, all kind of saying that like, yes, it's like it should be allowed for girls to play the boys' sports and the boys to play the girls' sport. And I think that was like such a cool thing. And then as you were saying about this, like empowering the girls to do what the boys are doing, I think is just so awesome.
Yeah, and Molly does the same. She'll come in from their old school and be like, you know what? like the boys got to do this and we just had to go and like play tag, like, just little things where like the boys would get to do stuff that the girls wouldn't because they assumed the girls would be as good, or like they
don't know your kids.
Right.
No, but I mean, it's one of those things where like when you say to a girl or girls that they can't do something, it tells them that they can't, but then it also tells the boys that they can't. You have like you're the teacher, like you're the educator. So do you want to teach children that, or do you want to teach people that everybody's the same, or to give everybody the same opportunities? I agree with Maya. There shouldn't be a division.
And what was the outcome?
Well, now that she's in secondary, that she's doing all the sports, so
Worked out for her.
It worked out for her. But I think there is a lot more inclusion. I don't know whether it's necessarily because of Maya's petition or whether it was something that was coming anyway. But I think she felt quite happy.
Oh, that's great.
Right.
Just that she had the courage to do it, and not to be just moaning about it, but actually take an action and try to change it.
I think what I really liked about it was that like it was courage, of course, and I'm like super proud of that, but also like she was flipping angry, like she was like
fired up,
really, and I was like, come on, Maya, like I really liked that, like she was super passionate
Riot
about
in
it.
the school.
But she was so passionate about it, like that I just was like,
they'll call you like, please control your child. She's leading
I don't know where she gets it from.
Here. That's very cool. That's cool. Bonnie, regarding the parents, when you have parents who are coming as well, like CrossFitters bringing CrossFit kids, is it more ladies or
both.
Fathers?
That's both. Yeah.
So you can't really tell, like, it's more moms who are pushing their kids, or
no, it's both.
No?
I mean, and we have quite a few where, I mean, right now our at least the younger kids' classes they coincide with the adults' class. So the parents will be working out while the kids are working out. And it's actually really cool because
that is a game changer too, right? Because I think that's a lot of reason. I mean, for us as well, like when you have kids, you can't go to the gym because you're busy with your kids. So that is awesome that you.
And
you
it's nice because like the parents come out all sweaty, the kids come out all sweaty. They talk about what they did. Like it helps like solidify, that it's part of their life, but it also gives them something to talk about and bond over. So. It's very cool. And like they'll see, their mom outside doing sled pushes and they're inside doing box flips, like they're doing similar movements, or, they'll see their parents go out for a run and we run 400 meters every class. Like, so, I mean, it's little things like that where like, they're really excited to be doing the same thing as mom and dad.
Yeah.
And, and during the week they hear their parents, we went to the gym, I'm going to the gym, and then they get to go on the weekend. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. So it's happening over weekends?
Yeah.
Mostly. Or
no, I have like the younger kids, the 5 to 9 year olds come on the weekends.
Oh, okay.
And then during the week, like ages 10 to 17.
All right. And you have them separated by like 10 to 13 and?
No, so I have like 5 to 9, 10 to like 12, 13, and then 13 and up. And then I have like another class that is, we call it Teens Plus, but it's, I usually take kids who are around 15, but it's kids who are more focused and they're stronger and they're really want to get better at CrossFit.
Like more like for an athlete's purposes, yeah?
Yeah. But if somebody is older, like they come to me and they're new and they're 16, they'll automatically go to that class because, there's, with kids, it's, not like adults where you can just lump them all together. Like, their maturity is different. Like even like that age group, like where I said it's 12 or 13, like if they're still goofing around a lot, they won't go to the 13-year-old class. You know what I mean? Like they have to, each class, as you level up is more challenging and is, maybe do higher skill movements and stuff like that. And if a child's not ready to be there, it's, it affects the class in terms of, distracting, but also, they're not going to benefit and they won't get that confidence and they won't grow as much when they're the one, who is being called out for bad behavior.
So you kind of have the age groups, but it's mostly about the personality and the maturity of the kid.
And the maturity and, their body awareness and, how well they move, stuff like that. I mean, because the different age groups still, younger kids is all body weight. And then we hit the preteens where it's a lot of technique, body weight, and, lightweight. But if their body's not ready to handle a normal barbell, they're not going to go there. You know what I mean? Like it's not, or they might stick to the training bar, but it's a lot harder when they hit that teen group, when they see their peers doing, heavier weights and stuff, they really want to do it too. And if they don't get the chance, it hurts them more than it helps.
Mm-hmm. And would you prefer maybe with the younger, because as I understand it, the young ones, that's just games or mostly everything in a form of games, right?
Yeah.
And then older and older they get, it's becoming more kind of structured, serious workouts, right? Yeah. Like AMRAPs, EMOMs, whatever.
Yep.
Do you have some kind of limit, like, or kind of rule, like you first start with med ball, barbell is at the end, and maybe kettlebells in between, or something like that? Or it's just it depends.
Real rule. It just depends. I mean, like with it depends on the age group, and then if someone is new, they will always get a technique bar if we're doing barbell work, or I'll make sure they can do the movement, unweighted before they add weight. And I'm definitely like a stickler for like some of the body weight movements. Like if they can't do a push-up, I will put them on the barbell on the rack. Like they're not going to go onto the floor necessarily, like maybe in a workout on their knees. But like if they, and with pull-ups, like we work on pull-ups a lot. It's, something kids want to be able to do, but they do not keep unless they have 5 strict. They will not, it's not, I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't want anyone to have a setback or not want to continue because something has gone wrong. Like it's safety before everything else. And, like even with the kids as they, are doing barbell movements and stuff, it's a lot of, hey, can I add weight? They don't just pile it on. It's like, can you watch me? Okay, yeah, you're good.
How many kids you can have, or how many kids you feel comfortable to having on the class?
It depends. It depends on the age, and it depends on.
Okay.
We have 2 gyms, so one's really small and one's a lot bigger. So it depends on the size and what we're doing. Like on the weekends, like especially my preteen class is pretty big. So like it's a lot of body weight and cardio on the weekends. But during the week, when it's a smaller group, like 5 to 10, then we can do more.
Okay, so 5 to 10 would be smaller.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just like what kind of numbers we talking about there, because for some people,
I'm not going to let like 20 kids in. No.
No. Well, I think great. It's probably good, but you know what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I want to make sure everyone gets the attention they need and everyone is successful in the class. So that's number one.
Girls, do you have any message for people with kids? First message, go to CrossFit. Second?
No, it's not even necessarily CrossFit. It's just expose your kids to fitness or just activity in general. Like, like I said before, my parents weren't... Okay, my dad, when I was younger, was quite a sporty man. Like, he played rugby and cricket, but he... that I can really recall didn't like really take care of himself. Like he didn't, it wasn't like a factored thing where it's like, I'm going to eat well and I'm going to move well. And my mum has never been particularly into fitness. And I kind of look at them now. I love them dearly, but I hadn't seen them for 3 years. We were just talking about this before. I hadn't seen them for 3 years because of COVID. When I went home, I suddenly felt like, oh my gosh, like my parents are old. Like they suddenly got old. And I think like for us, I think, considering our age, we're pretty sprightly. So I feel like there's a difference there to recognize and be like, okay, well, somehow, luckily, like I've managed to fall into fitness, even though I wasn't necessarily brought up that way. But if I can bring my kids up that way, they've got an even better chance.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life longevity and
I heard
Sure.
this. I heard this quote, or saying that the idea is to die young,
yeah.
as late as possible,
Yes, yes, that is a good quote.
because you don't want to be old, right? You want to live long,
Yeah.
Right.
but you don't want to be old.
Yeah.
That sucks. you
I've
know?
actually had this conversation with my kids because Maya, you were just saying that like you struggle a little bit now to get Liam to want to come to the
Right.
gym. So Maya's at this point now, believe it or not, where she's like too cool to come training. Like
Yeah.
she's on a bunch of teams at school. Like she's, she plays football, she plays basketball, she's on the swim squad. So she's like, I do enough. Like,
She
I
did
don't-
gymnastics a lot, right?
She did, yeah. Too cool for that now too, unfortunately.
Okay.
Which is such a shame because she was so good at it. But
Yes, yeah.
but yeah, like it's a struggle sometimes to get her to come and do a workout. And on a weekend, normally we'll try and do a little family workout, whether it's punch in the bag or, whatever we do. And I've had that conversation with her where I've been like, you can't just go play the game. Like you have to do all the background stuff that they don't tell you about. And
Right.
your mum does it, so take advantage. Like this is what we do.
And it's
like,
only going to make you better at your sports.
exactly.
Right.
Wouldn't it help if somebody else tells them?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
No problem. No problem. I can tell them. No, because I heard this from Julian, and he was so Julian Pinot from Strong Fit. Yeah, he was so pissed because his daughter, like, he had a girlfriend who was CrossFitter, like a high level competitive CrossFitter, and he has now he has a, I believe, fiance, and she is like national team runner, like sprinter, like top level. And she never asked them to train, or she never came to him like, I would like to, when she was like 13, 14, I think she might be around 17 now, but that time's like 14, 15, and she's like, and then suddenly he found out that she was doing this Julian Michel's YouTube program in her room, and it was like, I fight my whole life against this.
The worst thing
It's like,
possible.
the worst thing.
Anything else?
He was like, I'm atheist, but if God exists, he has a pretty good sense of humor. Revenge. Yeah, but that was the thing. Like, parents, that's not cool what they say, but if it's coming from a different angle, it or just find something different in it.
But that's like what Maya's doing. What you've allowed her to do is explore all these different sports, like kind of try them on and see if they're a good fit for her. That's really important with kids. Like if you say, no, you're going to play football and you're going to be really good at it, that's more than likely eventually going to backfire and they're going to not want to play anymore.
And don't get me wrong, I've tried it. Like when she said, oh, I don't want to do the gymnastics, I was like, Maya, you've been there for 3 years, you've worked your way up to this squad. Like, I just want to take maybe like a term off and see. I was like, but you understand that if you take a term off, if you decide to go back, you won't be with your same group because they would have pushed forward. So I did try having that conversation, but you're right, it does not work. You have to kind of let them.
You have to love it. I mean, we love CrossFit and we have continued and benefited from it because we love to do it. I mean, and finding that thing that they really like, and it might change. Like for us, it's, you have to be doing something active. You have to have at least one active hobby or activity that you do. And that's always their whole life. That's been their role.
But I feel, sorry.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I think maybe for me, I don't know whether you were the same, there is a period that you go through. So like when you're a kid, you do something because it's fun.
Yeah.
And then as an adult, you understand that you have to work. There's this period in between called teenager where like, okay, it's no longer fun and I don't want to work.
Right.
So it's that, they go into that
that's
phase.
the period. That's what I was about to say. That's the period when then in 2025 they'll be like, fuck.
Why
did I? Why I didn't do it?
And this is
But
the
that's too like that kind of goes back to what you were saying. In that teenage period, though, they're very more aware of how they look. And so for some kids, that's the motivation. Like, I'll have several teenage boys who'll be like, can we do all biceps and triceps today and shoulders, and I'll be like, or let's bench, and it's...
well, that's the thing. Like, you can kind of use that mindset as a tool to keep them interested because that's what is in their interest.
And
right?
we'll do that like every other week or so. We'll have an all upper body day. No Metcon, nothing. Like we'll just
smash it.
Yeah.
Bro session.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. And, well, some other time again.
Yeah.
Sure.